Welcome to this week's podcast episode. I brought on Dan Harrison from Canada. Dan, welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Give us a little background. Where do you live and what do you do?
So I live in Kelowna, BC, Canada, and it's a little town. I moved out from Vancouver. I moved here with my wife, mostly because it's really close to a snowboard hill. It's got a big, beautiful lake, and it's got that wine country kind of feel. And I have my own company, Harrison Financial Group. I do money coaching. So I would call myself a financial therapist and working through people's stories and narratives about money and helping them to shift and then also help them plan.
So, yeah, I think money is such a taboo topic, right? Everybody wants it, and so many people have cut off the flow from receiving it. Yeah. So can we maybe talk about money as an abundant mindset to begin with?
Yeah, totally. I was just, sorry, my mind went off when you said taboo. I was like, yeah, it's kind of like sex, like money and sex. It's these things like, oh, can we talk about this? I don't know.
Yeah.
And most people want more of it, of both. But money, sorry. So my mind went off when I heard taboo and money. What was the question again?
Well, just let's talk about money being, I feel that so many people, money is abundant, right? Money is energy and it's free flowing to all of us. Mm-hmm. So what have people done to restrict it, to cut it off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To always to feel debt, lack, worry, fear.
Yeah. There's, I think it's different for everybody. And I think that for most people that I've worked with, they don't even know that they've done that. And what happens is when we're young, we have these experiences with money. So one of the questions I'll ask people often is like, what is your earliest memory of money? And, I'll give you an example from me. So for me, there's three things that stick out when I ask that question. One, I was raised by a single mom, and every day after school, she would go to the mailbox, she would pick up the mail, she'd sit back in the van, and I was sitting right beside her, and she would go, bill, 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 another bill, and she would be like frustrated, and I hated going to the mailbox because I knew that there's going to be some bills in there.
Wow.
The second thing was my grandma used to hide little loonies, like a dollar. In Canada, we don't have dollar bills. We've got little $1 coins and $2 coins, and she would wrap them in tinfoil and hide them in my cake or my desserts, and I would find money in my cake, and I just use those two examples. And so unconsciously, as a little kid, that's just happening in my life. And later on, I started exploring, my beliefs about money, what I believe about money to be true. And I realized, I'm 25, 26. I'm at my own place, and I do not want to go to the mailbox and then I go to the mailbox. Lo and behold, a bunch of bills are there, and it hit me. I'm like, wow, I'm just reliving my mom's experience of like, there's nothing but bills. And I've also always been very good at creating or finding money. Like, I honestly believe money is everywhere. If I can find it in my cake as a 6-year-old boy, then I can find it anywhere. And those two things had been my experience. And so it took, looking at that, unpacking why I believed it, is it true, undermining it, recreating it. I got rid of all my bills, so no bills come to my mailbox anymore. They're all automated. And now I get awesome things in the mail, like from Amazon. It's like Christmas. So I look forward to going to the mailbox. To answer your question, what happens is, depending on like how we were raised, what beliefs we were given, that has contributed to how we see money, how we relate to it, and why, for a lot of people, it doesn't flow in maybe necessarily that easily, because it probably didn't for your parents.
So I know, for example, my GMA, that's how I call her GMA. GMA comes from the Great Depression.
Yeah, totally.
And so I think, and I don't quite know, my mom lives in a very abundant mentality, but I remember as a young girl, when we would go shopping, we had to hide everything. So dad wouldn't know. So we would go shopping and have to run up and put the bags in the closet. And now as an adult, I go shopping and I have what I call show. And I want to show it's not a secret, you know?
Yeah.
But okay, so you were able to go back and figure out your earliest memory, your money story. How do you uproot that and be like, that's not my story?
Yeah, I think for me it was like wild story, probably not enough time on this podcast, but like I had a wild rock bottom kind of moment, and I was like forced to look at myself and be like, why am I creating these results? Like, honestly, I'm so tired of having debt. I'm so tired of struggling with money. And I worked with coaches. I didn't know what I don't know. So I would work with coaches, therapists, friends, and start to get a different perspective on my finances. And then it was really just about recreating myself, recreating the image that I have of myself, the story that I have about money. And it sounds really boring, but I did that. Like, the way to do that is first pin down what your story actually is. Like, what have you unconsciously accepted to be true about money? And pin that down, realize that that's not serving you, and then create a new story and a new image. Write it down, repeat it. I would carry with myself like a little goal card. I carried it around for years. I laminated it, and it said, I am so happy and grateful now that I earn $10,000 a month easily and effortlessly from multiple streams of income in increasing quantities. And I would carry that thing around until one day, there I am making 10 grand a month easily and effortlessly from multiple streams. So yeah, that's it. That's the process. You got to identify first what you've been given, realize that you're free to change it, rewrite that and repeat it and rewrite it and repeat it and rewrite it and put it on a goal card until it becomes your new reality.
What do you say to the person that goes, oh, cool, this is that woo-woo law of attraction, the secret bullshit?
Yeah.
What do you say to that person?
Great. Have you tried it? I get it. I get the woo-woo. Like, trust me, I think, so I'm like unique. For some reason, the things that I have been passionately curious about since I was like 17, 18 is spirituality and money, and trying to have them make sense with each other, like because they seem to be opposing pursuits. Spirituality, the ethereal, woo-woo, can't touch it, feel good, yeah, okay, I get that. And then there's money, which is just 1 + 1 is 2. And but both are true. Both, at least in my world, my paradigm, the way I see, they're both true. And and then it's just, how do they relate to each other? And yeah, and I don't know, for somebody who's sitting there saying like, oh, the woo-woo, the vision board, the goal card, yeah, I heard this all before. Yeah, my question is just like, have you tried it?
Yeah. Or what's your money situation, right? So, but isn't your backstory, didn't you have, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was 150 grand in debt? More than.
Yeah. So so the quick version of this story is, when you're young and you know everything?
Yes.
Were you like that? Yeah. Like, I was just young, dumb, arrogant, think I know everything. Now I'm like older. I don't know if I know anything. But and the more I learn, the less I know. That's what I know to be true for sure. So, so anyways, I had this great idea when I was 20. I was going to be a land developer because I watched a couple shows on like HGTV, how to like flip a house. And I was like, well, why would I do a house when I could do 88 condo units? So I walked into a bank, I pitched them this idea. This is 2006, and they gave me a $500,000 line of credit. And they're like, yeah, that could work. And it's like, those are the reasons why the economy collapsed in 2008, because they were lending out practices like lending like that. So so there I am. I'm 21 with a $500,000 of debt. The project bombs. I spend the money. I have a $500,000 of debt now. The project doesn't work. And I'm in the bank every weekend being like, I just don't want to go bankrupt. Somebody like tell me what to do. And then I was in there so much, they would teach me little things. And then I was in there so much that they actually gave me a job as a traveling insurance salesman, which was a commission-based job. And I just hustled my butt off, selling insurance, learning about finance. And 8 years later, I get out of debt. I become a certified financial planner. I've helped thousands of people build their own financial plans. And all the technical knowledge about money and investing and taxes and was like not the reason I got out of debt. It was because of the woo-woo, the intangible, the self-image, all of that stuff I attribute to my ability to get out of debt and create a different life.
And so something you shared with me, people come to you for, they think, money problems.
Yeah.
But what's the real problem?
Yeah, it's always money is the symptom. Money is, so for me, I look at it like, I'm really grateful for the clients that I work with, and they like, I get to have some of the most meaningful conversations with people, because when you're talking about money, you're talking about people's retirement, or when people die and there's inheritances, and it's like, or people are buying a new house or having kids, like these kind of pivotal moments in people's lives. I get to have those conversations. And sorry, I went off on a tangent there. So people come to me thinking that they'll have like a money problem, and inevitably in every conversation, the money is just showing them something about like what they believe to be true, or a perspective that they have on money. And the money, the balance sheet, is a reflection of what's going on the inside. And then people want to change the outside situation, like they want to make more money or they want to get out of debt. And then they think that the way to do that is to do something outside of them, like get another job or figure out some debt payment strategy. They forget to look at the inner stuff, like their beliefs, their perspective, their paradigms. And so, yeah, they come to me and they think that it's a money thing, but then, and it shows up there for sure, but we address and we change these beliefs and ideas and the woo-woo stuff, and put some structures in place for the money, like the finances, like they need structure. And as they change the inside, that outside changes. And the results change on the balance sheet. So that's the Dave Ramsey has this quote, and he's like, he says it's kind of like the 80-20 rule, where 20% of financial success is technical, but 80% of it is behavioral, emotional, and intellectual.
Well, and that's something, as an overall, Tony Robbins says that everything is 20% mechanics, 80% psychology.
100%. I agree.
So let's
for sure.
go over maybe the top, I don't know how many, but here's what I've always heard from money experts or whatever, that the top fears are money is hard to come by. You have to work hard for money. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are evil.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
Those are all the beliefs people have. How can we change them? So what would you suggest? What are some new mantras, money mantras?
Yeah. So I think, first of all, before you just plaster a new mantra on top of old beliefs, you actually first have to really be honest with yourself and look at and dismantle your old beliefs. Because, that's like a positive affirmation on top of a pile of crap is just a pile of crap with some lipstick on it. This is still in control. So what we have to do is actually take time to write out, and it's easy to, here's a good example. My dad always used to say money doesn't grow on trees. Like, he wasn't very original, but that was like one that was always in the house. Okay, it's pretty funny now in Canada anyway. This year, like, marijuana and cannabis was legalized. Literally, money is growing on trees. I mean, or little bushes anyway. But like, it's like you can't even say that anymore. So if you have like these old sayings that you have, like that one, money doesn't grow on trees, you have to find ways to undermine them. Like, is that true? That's a good question to ask. Do I really believe that? And then, is that true? And then is that true? Do I, and then maybe the answer is like, yes. And then I would ask again, is it really true? Like undermine your beliefs. And then as you do them and create some separation with them, that's when you can be free to create a new one. But we have to look at what's there, own it, address it, dismantle it, and then recreate from nothing. And then that's the process of recreating limiting beliefs. And also, I would say it's difficult to do on your own, because you will typically only be able to see, like, you don't know what you don't know. So this is where having like a coach or a therapist or somebody else who can look at you objectively and offer you some insight that you can't see is really, really valuable. Every time I've hired a coach or gone like group therapy or anything like that, it's always paid for itself 100 times, because my whole world changes when I become aware of one of my blind spots. Like, everything changes. So that's kind of the how. And then in terms of like a top 5, man, they're all different versions of the same thing. It's phenomenal, actually, how many different versions of the same thing there is. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I can't. I'm not smart enough, so I can't make money. If you have parents who were like employees who just traded their time for money, then it's like, oh, I don't know how to make more money because I'd give away all my time. So anyways, there's just like, I love that conversation, because we're literally free to create new every day.
Well, and definitely, I think money is something we could talk about forever. But I want to touch on the program that you're creating and going to be releasing soon is about this wealth conscious for couples. And I remember in a relationship that I was in, and I've always heard that, right? That money is one of the biggest rifts in relationships.
Totally. Yeah. I think it's actually the number one stressor in relationships. And it is, I'm not sure if it's like the leading cause of divorce, but it accounts for, I think it's like 50 or 60%. Like the couples will attribute the reason to breaking up is because they fought too much about money, and that makes total sense to me, because actually going back to the start of this podcast, you said like money is a taboo topic, right? We don't talk about it. There's shame, there's guilt, there's like, money trauma almost, that we all have from our, growing up. And then we don't talk about it. So now I've got my money shit. And can I say that on here?
Yes.
Yeah. So I got my money shit and my wife has her money shit, and neither one of us talk about it. So like, and then we wonder why we fight about finances. So I created this this program. It's called A Course in Conscious Wealth, and it's for conscious couples who are open to looking at themselves, like into personal development. It's not their first rodeo, and but want to align their finances. And so what that looks like is each of them doing their own individual work. Why do I believe this? What are my thoughts, beliefs about it? And then learning some communication skills to be able to navigate the minefields of money and the triggers and the upset that happens and the defensiveness that happens. And so learning some communication skills, and then being able to come together and align their finances and have them work cohesively. And I would love to be, contribute to the world in having, like, if my work could help couples and families stay together, and money not be the reason that couples break up and get divorces, that's become my work. And it's funny because I know where that stems from. It's because my parents split up when I was 6, and it was over money. So shocking. I've created a life and a career out of restoring the pain and hurt of my 6-year-old self.
Yeah, but that's what so many people do. So that's finding the pain and then making purpose out of it.
You got it.
Good for you.
You got it.
All right. So I know we could go on for days, but I want to wrap this up with a few rapid fire questions for you. You ready? Okay. What is a quote or motto that you live by?
If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Wayne Dyer. Yeah.
Is that from the book Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life or something?
Yeah. Wayne Dyer is like my homie. Was super sad when he passed away a couple years ago. But he was, The Power of Intention is like, that book was one of the, it had a big impact in my life. Yeah.
I was going to ask that too. Who inspires you? But I'm going to guess it's Wayne.
Well, he's one of them. But you know who inspires me? My clients inspire me. The people that I work with, where I get to like observe them change and create happier, healthier, wealthier lives. Like that, they inspire me, really. And my wife inspires me too.
She's a lucky woman.
Yeah,
what is a book you're currently reading or highly recommend?
Those might be two different things.
Okay. Okay, then what is a book you highly recommend?
Okay. The two books. So like I said, I'm sometimes jealous of my friends who had like passions and hobbies like fixing cars or, even snowboarding or biking. And I don't know why, but I've just been curious about spirituality and money, like from a super young age. So the two books that are kind of fundamental is A Course in Miracles and then Think and Grow Rich. And those two books are my core.
Yes. So I actually follow a ton of authors that write kind of from A Course in Miracles. And I mean, that's a thick, big book. It's kind of hard to comprehend, but you've actually read it.
A few times, and the teacher's manual. And
oh, wow.
I'm actually enrolled in to become a therapist, but where the diploma or the certificate program is 3 years, but they use A Course in Miracles as the curriculum for helping people have transpersonal transformation. So using spiritual psychology, is like, I think it's really important work. And those would be my two books.
Awesome. Okay, final question. What advice would you give your younger self?
That one's tricky because and like now being on the other side of like that journey of getting out of debt and everything, if that was the only way that I could learn the lessons that I would have learned, then I would do it again for sure. I wouldn't change a thing. And so I think my younger self would just want to hear words of encouragement, like don't stop, keep going, keep pursuing, and just like and tune in more, like align more with that higher spiritual version of yourself, like connect with that more, meditate more, find stillness more, align yourself more, and keep going. And yeah, that would be on a pursuit to embody and express the highest version of yourself, like continually keep pursuing that. Yeah, that's what I would tell myself.
Love it. Dan, you're such a light, and I love what you're doing. Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on here.